You probably suck at sales, and that's okay, because I too once sucked at sales, and it's okay as long as you know that you suck at sales and you have room to grow. Because in my opinion, sales is one of the most important skills in business, in life, and obviously if you're a sales guy, it's an important skill to have. You want to be good at sales if you are a sales guy. But even me as the business owner, there's so many ways and so many avenues that sales helps me in my business, even though I don't necessarily sell any roofs today. Sales is selling people on your vision and your dream and getting people to come join you and come be on your team. You have to be able to sell people, especially early on, although forever, but especially early on when you don't really have a business yet, you haven't really built anything yet. You've got to be able to pitch your vision and pitch your dream and get people to trust you and get people to believe in you, even though you don't really have much to show for what you're doing. And that is sales, getting people to join your team when it's risky and when they probably shouldn't because you're brand new. You have to sell them to join your team. You have to sell your team members to do what you need them to do to help the business. You have to sell them on that. Maybe you have a new tweak to the system. Maybe you have a different way you want people to do things. Well, you don't just want to tell them to do it. You want to sell them on why it's a good idea and why it's good for everybody to do it this way now because of this. And that way nobody ever feels like you're just barking orders at them because this is how it needs to be because I'm your boss and do it because I said so. Don't do that. You're not dealing with children. These are not children on your team. These are adult, grown people. We have to treat them that way. We have to treat them with respect. But we also need to have them do what we need them to do. As the business owner, as the one that knows what's best in a lot of areas, you need people to do what you need them to do, but we can't just tell them, do it this way because. So we need to persuade them and make it almost seem like it's their idea or make them understand and see why it needs to be done this way so that we're all in agreement that, yes, it needs to be done this way. And that is sales. When I started my business, I was the only salesperson in my company, and I led the company in sales for the first 4 years of having a business. I've talked about it before that I like this way of starting a business as being the driver of sales as the business owner for multiple reasons. One, you save money on sales commissions. Two, you're learning the skill of sales because it's going to be important for you for your whole career in business, really your whole life. And I don't know if there's a third. I was just counting for no reason. I notice I do that a lot when I watch these videos back. It's always first, second, and that's all I got. Whether you're new to the industry, whether you've been in the industry, whether you're selling as a business owner, we need to learn how to sell because without sales, there is no business. Marketing is super important to get people in the door, but somebody needs to meet these people and get them to sign contracts or we go out of business. If this is you as a business owner early on or you're just a sales guy, this video will apply. And I'm just gonna go through everything I think that is important when selling roofs. I would say home services, but there's a lot of nuances industry to industry in sales. Yes, sales is sales, but the tickets are different, the type of appointment's different, the type of competition you're gonna face is different. So when I speak about sales, I'm speaking about roofing sales because really it's the only product I've ever sold is roofs. I had no sales experience when I started selling roofs. The only thing I was I was an expert in my trade, an expert at roofing, which I'll get into later, could be a detriment if you don't know how to sell. And then two, I kind of naturally had people skills. I've always kind of naturally, by no credit to my own, by the grace of God, by my parents, by whatever, I've always kind of been a likable people person. So I had those two things going for me, but I had no sales experience, no sales training, no idea about like a sales process or a sales presentation. So I really didn't know much. I was kind of just winging it. So that's where I started. And now where I'm at today is I really don't do sales. I run my sales meetings. I developed our sales process. I'm like a sales coach to our sales reps, but I do not go and run appointments very rarely. And the way I got there was through realizing that I sucked at sales. I knew I could improve in sales. I knew it was important that I did improve in sales, and I did it. And the reason I started this video off by saying you probably suck at sales is because it's important for us to realize when we can improve in an area. Realistically, we can all improve in every area, but it's super important to realize like, okay, this area of my business or this area of what I do is super important for the growth of my business. It's super important for getting to the next level, and I could be better at it. That's the first step, is acknowledging that there's room to grow in this area. I am not as good as I could be in this very vital area of my business. For this video, in the sales department. Okay, I suck at sales. Now let's do everything I can to get better at sales, which is first learning, it's digesting content, it's reading books, it's watching other salespeople, it's listening to other salespeople, it's having conversations about sales. That's the education process. I need to take in more sales information from people that are better at sales than me. I need to take in the information. Okay, now I need to practice on all this new stuff I learned, and through repetition and through trying things out and through real world experience, I'm going to start to get better at sales. And if I can continue that cycle, inevitably in a year from now, in 6 months from now, in 3 years from now, I'm going to be way better at sales than I am now. But the first step is saying, yes, today I suck at sales. I need to get better. In my opinion, being an expert in the industry that you're selling in is important, but it's not everything. And I mentioned earlier that this can be a detriment in your sales performance, because it really can be. Because what happens, and this used to happen to me, and I see it happen to other people, is because you're such an expert, because you're such a master of your craft, you tend to bore people and give people way too much information about the product you're selling, in this case, the roof, which I did this. I'm guilty of this. And when I realized this through listening to people that were better at sales than me, and they taught me this, and I went, fuck, I do that because I was the roof guy. I was a roofer. I knew about every little detail of roofing, and I wanted to tell all the homeowners this because I thought it made me look like an expert. And while, yes, it did make me look like an expert, a lot of homeowners don't want to hear that shit. And it was very simple for me to understand this when I heard it for the first time, because I put myself in the homeowner's shoes, and I'm like, yeah, man, I hate when people won't shut up about something I don't really care about. I hate it. I want to leave the room, and I'm doing that to some people. And then I realized that there's about 10% of homeowners that want to hear that technical roofing information, and I'm giving it to 100% of homeowners. What am I doing, dude? They probably think I'm fucking nuts. They probably want me to get off of their property because I'm just talking about shit they don't understand, they don't give a fuck about, and I'm supposed to be there to sell them a roof. And instead, I'm boring them and confusing them. So number one, do not bore people with technical information that they don't want. The way you can find out is this a person that wants the technical information and wants all the details and wants to know how to install drip edge and wants to know what goes on first, the underlayment, the drip edge, how this goes on. The way you figure out if you're dealing with that type of person is A, if they're an engineer. I'm sure if you've dealt with engineers, you know what I'm talking about. But B is just asking questions. You can find out very quickly if they want to hear that kind of stuff or not by asking questions. And we should be asking questions before we're presenting information, because there's no way for us to know the information that they actually want to hear, the information that's going to set you apart, the information that's going to help them come to their decision to pick you for their roof job, by just guessing at the information you're going to throw at them. There's so many different avenues we could go with in our conversation, in our sales appointments, as far as providing information. We don't just want to guess. And we definitely don't just want to give everybody the same information. That makes no sense. It's impossible for every single homeowner you come across to want the same information from you as the last guy. It's impossible. People are different. People have different concerns. People have different life experience. Some people have dealt with contractors before. Some people haven't. Some people have replaced the roof before. Some people haven't. Some people care about the price. Some people don't. Some people want a quality contractor. Some people don't. Some people are engineers and want to know every single detail and are probably going to read all the product information and have a more in-depth knowledge of the products you're selling than you do. But everybody's different is my point. So the way we figure out what avenue do I need to take this sales conversation is through asking questions. So you should have some simple questions that you ask people to try to start to dig out, okay, I hit something here. Let's stay on this. Let's dive deeper into this. Some examples of some questions you could ask are very simple. Hey, so why are we looking at replacing your roof now? Well, why would that be an important question to ask? Well, you want to know, are they excited? Are they being proactive? And they're just like, you know, they saw their neighbor get a metal roof. They have a shitty shingle roof. the thought of switching over to a metal roof to protect their family in the next storm season is exciting to them, and they're just trying to be proactive and take care of their home and put the strongest roof system they can on their home, okay, now you know you're dealing with that type of person. Are they pissed that they need a new roof and they're saying, well, my fucking insurance company sent me a letter, there's nothing fucking wrong with that roof, but they said if I don't get a new roof they're going to drop me? Okay, you've got someone who's angry with insurance. Insurance is a pain point for this person, so let's stay on that. Let's discuss options that will keep the insurance company off their back so they never have to be put in this situation again. So we can ask them very simply, why are we here to replace your roof? Let them answer, and then it'll give us a kind of head start on what we're dealing with, on what's the reason for replacing the roof, what kind of solution. Do they want the best roof? Do they want the cheapest roof? What do they want? So that's a simple question you can ask everybody just as like an icebreaker. Another question you can ask people: have you ever hired a contractor before? I love this question. I love this question. The reason I ask this question is because I want to understand what their experience is in dealing with contractors, because we all know that most contractors don't offer a good experience. So I ask this question honestly kind of in hopes that they have had a bad experience with a contractor, so I can make them relive that situation and like ask deeper and more questions about how bad that experience was. Maybe they got a pool done. Pool companies are notorious for giving bad experiences, and pool projects take forever. So like, you know, a bad roof experience could last a week, a couple weeks, you know, worst case months. A bad pool experience could last over a year. So like, that's a very painful experience. And I like to make them relive that. And the reason I like to make them relive that is because I just want to bring it to the forefront of their mind that, okay, this roofing contractor decision is a very important decision. I do not want to deal with another horror story nightmare like I did with the pool contractor. So let me take these conversations serious. And now when I try to let them know that, like, hey, all roofers are not the same. You're going to get a wide range of prices. But what I can guarantee you if you go with us is, you know, we will take care of you. It'll be seamless. We're professional. We'll communicate the whole time. We'll stick to the schedule I'm telling you is going to happen today. And I can guarantee you that because we've done that for every single customer we've had before you. And that's how we grow our business year after year, is by giving people an amazing customer experience. You can look at our reviews. They speak for themselves. But I know saying that to a customer that's had that bad experience and who understands that they need to hire a good contractor and who understands that not all contractors are good contractors, and I would even say that most contractors aren't good contractors. If my homeowner understands that and that's right here in their mind, then all that stuff is going to be meaningful to them. But if I said the same type of stuff, trying to qualify us as a great contractor above the rest as far as our customer service and our experience, to someone who's never hired a roofer before or never hired a contractor before, it's probably not going to mean much because they don't understand the risk. They probably think that all roofers are the same. And me just speaking to that, because everybody says that they're the best, so it doesn't really mean much if you just tell a homeowner you're the best. You have the best crews, the best service, the best this, the best that. It really doesn't mean much because everybody says that. But if you're able to get into an in-depth conversation about a past bad experience they've had and clearly show him with confidence that you are different, well, then he will trust that. And if you've done a good job of making him relive that pain where other reps that were out to the house didn't, it's going to set you apart, and you're going to seem genuine when you promise him and can guarantee him that you are not that type of company. Another question you can ask, and we ask this in when people call the office, but you can ask this in person as well, and I like to ask this one too, is just where did you find us? I usually like to ask this question before I go up on the roof. So like, I'll start off with some icebreakers. I'll get to know them. I'll bullshit with them a little bit. I'll ask some of these leading questions to like really figure out like what kind of avenue I have to take the conversation. What direction do I need to go in? And then I like to ask this question before I get up on the roof to do my inspection, which we'll get into the inspection in a little bit, which I think is important. And a lot of guys don't do it, and it's a big decision. But I'll ask this before I get up there. I'll be, oh yeah, where did you find us? And then I'll let them tell me where they found us. And I like to ask this question because it kind of lets me know like how warm they are. Do they already like our company? Did they read all our reviews? Have they watched all our videos? Did we do the neighbor's house? And it just lets me know like how warm they are to us. And if they are warm, I can kind of hit on that a little bit just to remind them like, oh yeah, we did your neighbor's house, but we also did 3 houses right down the street. Actually, that's actually where they found us. That's actually where that neighbor found us doing those roofs. So now I'm like adding the social proof of other things we did in the neighborhood. Maybe they watch my videos and I'll be like, oh, did you see the one on this? And I'll point to something on the roof. Be like, yeah, I made a video on that. You see how they did that? That's not how we do that. That's why you have all the staining on the wall. I'll just try to like confirm what they already saw. Or if they saw all the Google reviews, you know, you're like, oh, great. They read the reviews. That's important. They want to pick a good company. They know that's important because they read all the reviews. And then I'll go up on the roof, which this is where the roofing expertise comes in, and the degree to which we're going to use it will vary customer to customer, but we're always going to use it a little bit. We're always going to do an in-depth inspection. This is going to help the production department out when they do the job, and it's also going to be in your back pocket as you need it, as a major differentiator to your competition. Because not all roofing companies train their salespeople on how to build a really nice roof with like all the bells and whistles and be able to really provide like a complete roof solution, a complete individualized roof solution for their homeowner. A lot of people are still just sending out bland, generic proposals with no inspection photos, with no inspection summary, with no extra upgrades offered that are just for this particular project, with no extra line items in the scope of work that are just meant for this specific project. A lot of guys still aren't doing that. And if you're able to individualize the scope of work and individualize the proposal for that individual homeowner with photos of their house, well, you're setting yourself apart. Like I said, the degree to which we're going to touch on this in the in-home presentation is going to vary depending on the homeowner. But we're always going to do this in-depth inspection. We're always going to take photos. We're always going to take videos. So I get up on the roof and I inspect everything. I take a million photos. I'm looking for any little goofy shit I can point out to them. You say, oh, you see how this is done? Do you see this stain here? Do you see this soft spot here? Do you see all this algae growth here? Oh, you have solar panels. Well, we should really look at metal because metal roofs are the best to hold solar panels because we don't have to put holes in your roof. We can actually screw the brackets to the standing seam in the metal, and now you have solar panels up there, but you don't have any holes in your roof. Oh, all your gutters are filled with water. Like I know you mentioned that you want to save them, but you know, look at the pictures. I took video like that. They're all filled with water. They're not even working. Oh, you have a screen enclosure in the back. We make sure to cover that in plywood so we don't damage any screens. Just anything that's individual to their house, anything. Even just like boring generic houses where you don't see that there's much. Maybe there's like an electrical pole off the edge of the roof, or maybe there's an old satellite dish up on the roof. Something so simple. But if you're the only one that comes down off the roof and goes, hey, that satellite dish, do you guys still use it or is that trash? Oh no, that's been up there forever, that's trash. Oh, okay, make a little note of it, even if it's a fake note. Well, you should take a real note in case you get the job. But make a little note of that. Okay, satellite dish is trash. It just shows that you're there to do a professional job. It shows that you're an expert. It shows that you've been there before. These inspection reports, that's what they do. They're differentiators. It's also going to help you down the road in the production department as far as preparing for the job, but this is a sales video, so I'm not even going to get into that. So now that you took 20, 30, 40, 60 pictures while you're up on the roof, when you come down, if you have anything glaring or if you have any upgrades you can offer them or any big problems or any areas where we're going to do it different because you have a problem here the way they did it, you can start to show them that. Show them the pictures. Walk through it. Explain it very plainly. Don't use super technical knowledge. Instead of calling something a valley, I'll look up and be like, you see where those two roofs come together and they make that diagonal line and run down? That's how I talk to homeowners. I don't use terms like valley, or I don't use roofing terms. I don't try to talk like I'm an expert. I see this a lot from new salespeople. They try to sound way smarter than they are talking about roofing, when in reality, we should be dumbing it down for homeowners. Homeowners aren't roofers. Why are we trying to elevate our roofing terminology and try to sound super smart? Well, now you're being that technical guy that nobody can understand and you're boring people. So like just dumb it down for people. You see all that black stuff underneath the tile? That's literally how I talk to homeowners. That's how you should too. We shouldn't use, you see the eave closure where the weep holes are? Don't say shit like that. Nobody knows what that is. So you see that gray stuff underneath that tile, what's got that hole in it? That's how we should be talking to homeowners. So we start to deliver some of the roof stuff to them. We start to show them pictures if there's something important that they should see. And we're noticing how receptive they are to it. If it feels like for a second that you're boring them with this shit, just cut it out. Just casually end it smoothly, and move on to the next thing. But if they seem really interested, like, that's a hole, huh? Yeah, and then keep going, and keep going, and keep going. Because the more of that shit you can bring up, if they're engaged, if they're into it, you're setting yourself apart. Because the rest of the people that come to the house, if they don't bring up any of those issues, I guarantee you're going to get the job. I can guarantee it, because they were concerned about all the things you showed them. And then they had these other roof experts come to the house, and some of them didn't even go up there. They didn't even look at it. Maybe some did go up there, but they didn't see or bring up the things you saw, and now you are clearly the roof expert. Another point to this is, if you do a good job at this, and say you don't sign the contract at the end of the job, which we'll get at the end of the appointment, which we're going to get to. Well, when you're leaving the appointment, you want to make sure, maybe they told you that they've got a couple other guys coming out. You say, of course, you should have more guys coming out. It's definitely a good idea to interview multiple companies so you know that you're going to hire the best one. Just do me a favor. When you get all your quotes in, please give me a call, or please pass them to me so that I can help you decipher them. Like these, look at all this paperwork. Look at all these pages. I know you don't want to go through these. I know you don't understand all the words in them. You can scratch out the prices. I don't want to see anyone's prices. I just want to make sure that you understand what you're looking at, because all of these roof contracts you collect, they're not all going to be the same. And I just want to make sure that you're comparing apples to apples, and you're not getting ripped off because you don't catch something in one of these contracts. And if you've made the homeowner feel comfortable, and you've made her feel like you're an expert, and you've made her feel like you're truly there to help, well, then she's going to trust you, and she's going to trust you even more when she thinks back after all the rest of the people came to the house, and you were the most detailed, you were the one that knew the most about the roof, you were the one that went up there, you were the one that showed her that you were trying to put together a solution that was right for her, and none of these other guys did. So if she does want help going over the quotes, she's going to choose you. And at the end of the day, we're not going to get every single appointment that we go on. But if you're the person that they select to at least help them review the quotes, that means you did your job right. And if people are doing that with you, then I know you're going to do well in sales. If people are ghosting you nonstop and they're not giving you the time of day when you follow up, well, you're doing something wrong, and you need to figure out what that is. We went to the house. We built some rapport. We asked some leading questions just to figure out why we're there and what they want. We went and did an inspection. We tried to differentiate ourselves through our inspection to show them that we care, to show them that we're an expert. Now we come off the roof, we have a little discussion. Well, now we have to keep the sale moving forward. So how do we do that? Well, it's with a sales presentation, and there's technology out there to where we can go up on the roof, we can take our photo inspection, we can create any estimate we want out of all the different roof systems we offer with a couple clicks on a tablet. And now we have a full-blown proposal with pictures we took 2 minutes ago, ready to present to the homeowner, which is a great thing. So let's go in the house, let's get in the AC, and let's sit down and let's have a conversation about their options, which brings me to tiered pricing. You should have tiered pricing. You should have good, better, best. You should have options, however you want to call it. You should have these for a million different reasons. I used to only offer one price per roof type, just one price. We'd give people one option. We'd have upgrades, but as far as the scope of work, we'd have one option. This is a bad idea for a couple reasons. First reason it's a bad idea is because there's people out there that just want the best shit. They want the best. And they're always going to choose the best, most expensive option you give them, no matter what it is. They exist. I just dealt with a guy last night at an HOA meeting. We usually install aluminum only on the coast. This community is nowhere near the coast. It's probably 30 minutes from the beach. And he wants 040 aluminum, which is like heavy gauge, bulletproof, gonna last forever. He wants 2 layers of underlayment. He wants tape on that. He wants the best shit. If I could just make some shit up and tell him, hey, you really need this, he would pay for it. He's that type of guy. So if you only have one price option, you're missing out on 5, 10, maybe even 15% added revenue to that job because you didn't have anything better to offer them. But if you had that Class A option, that Mercedes-Benz option, a lot of guys, I won't say a lot, it's probably about 15, 20% of guys will select that option, and now, boom, you just added revenue. You added money to the bottom line just by going there with an extra option. So that's reason number one, you should have tiered pricing. Reason number two, you should have a lower option. So notice I went around on my imaginary option. So I have A, the Mercedes-Benz. I have B, the option that we've always provided. And now I have C, which is B with some things stripped out of it to give me a cheaper, more affordable option. I used to think that we're the best roofing company and we're going to do the best quality work and we're going to use the best quality materials. And if you don't want the best, then we're not the right company for you. But that's honestly an immature view on business, and just like it doesn't make any sense when I look back on it. Why am I going to decide what my market wants? That's not my decision. That's not even my house. Why am I going to decide what roof is right for them? Because at the end of the day, even in my economical Class C option, it's still a brand new roof. It's still going to get you a new insurance policy written. It's still going to last a long time. And you're still going to get an amazing service because we're the company installing it. It's still going to be done right. It's just we strip some things away to make it more affordable. There's nothing wrong with that. And sometimes people are flipping homes and they want a cheaper option. Sometimes people are on a budget and they want a cheaper option. Sometimes people get the insurance letter and they weren't expecting to have to put a brand new roof on it, and the cheaper option is right for them. So who am I to tell them, no, you need to spend more money you don't have on this best option, or you shouldn't work with me? That's dumb. That's dumb, guys. So that's why we should have options, A, B, C. And the profit margins are the same on all three. I guess some people may play with them a little bit. Mine's exactly the same across every option. So I'm not slashing profit margin to offer a cheaper option. I'm slashing quality and materials, and I'm slashing maybe some extra services that don't need to be there and could be considered extra. And that's how I come up with my tiered pricing. Tommy Mello says if you're not offering options, you're offering ultimatums. I tend to agree with that. Because now, when we go into the home, which is where we're at in our little sales process video, when we go in the home and we're presenting the proposal to them, one of the big areas of conversation will be which option is best for you. Okay, we know why we're at the appointment. We've done an inspection. We've looked at the roof. We've built rapport with the customer. We've gotten them to like us. We've shown them that we're an expert. We've differentiated ourselves from everybody else. Now we're sitting down at the kitchen table and we're providing them options. And now we're going to work as a team to figure out what option is best for them. Rather than, this is the price. If you don't, this is the price. That's it. But if we can make them feel like they're shopping with our company, because people like to shop for roofs, and usually the way they shop is by talking to multiple companies. But now if we're able to make them feel like they're shopping with us, well, the chances of them going with us are higher, because they're still shopping and they love our company, they love our reputation, they love you as the sales rep, and they still feel like they're shopping. So if we can have a conversation around, well, I think that this one, it sounds like this one would be right for you. What do you think? And that's good. We want them to feel like they're shopping. So we go through the presentation. We're in I haven't said this that much in this video, and I should have said it more. It should have been somewhere in the beginning, is that the entire time we want to make them feel like we are there to help them. And something we talk about a lot, and a way to do this, a way to disarm them, because people have sales resistance. You don't want to come off like a sales guy, because you're not going to get people to take their guard down, is you can say, right up front in the beginning, hey, just so you know, I'm just here to help you with this roof process. I know that a lot of homeowners don't know anything about roof replacements. They probably don't even want to replace their roof. You'd probably much rather take your family on vacation or buy a new car or buy a boat than a brand new roof. Some people think roofs are boring, but we need roofs to protect our home. I'm just here to help you through the process. Even if it's not with our company, I just want to help you make the right decision here. If you say something like that and you look them in the eyes and you're actually genuine about it, they're going to take their guard down, because they're going to be like, all right, this guy's not really here to sell me. And you want to kind of hold that attitude through all your interactions with the customer. And it has to be genuine. You should really be like that. If you're like this money-hungry, money-driven, fucking psycho, greedy salesperson, you could probably do okay, but you're going to rub a lot of people the wrong way, and a lot of people are just going to be closed off to you because people don't like that shit. People like genuine people that are there to help them. We're offering a service to homeowners. That's what we should be there to do. So if when we're going through the proposal and we're going through our presentation and we're showing them the materials and we're showing them the brochures, we're in a genuine state of service. Well, once we've gone through all of our presentation and all of our options and they feel good about this option and we're asking them about when they're ready to be started, when they're ready to get started? Well, at a certain point, when there's no more questions and there's nothing else to talk about, we can just ask them a simple question. Are we good to okay the paperwork? And they're either going to say yes or they're going to say no. And this is when you get into objections that come up. You know, they may say that they need to talk to their husband. They may say that they're waiting for more people to come out. They may say a million different things, or they may say, yeah, I'm ready to go. Let's do it. And then great, you sold a roof. And if you didn't sell a roof, well, now you have a chance to have a conversation around what their hesitations are about. And I'm going to save objection handling for another video, because now I want to get into the number one thing that you can do to improve your sales that takes zero skill at all. It takes zero skill at all. So say you ask them, are you ready to okay the paperwork? And notice I didn't say you're ready to sign the contract. That seems a little invasive. That seems a little aggressive. That seems a little formal. Where okay the paperwork, that's very casual. It's very nonchalant. We build a relationship. We're friendly with the guy. Okay, let's okay the paperwork. Very casual, just a small thing. But say they had hesitations and say you couldn't get them to sign the contract. Well, they're not gone forever. They're definitely not gone forever. They are now in our pipeline. They're in our follow-up list. And if we're able to actually follow up, we're going to set ourselves apart from probably 90% of salespeople. I have a sales rep today that is really starting to pick up momentum, and he's my newest, greenest sales rep. Not my newest with the company, but newest to roofing. He knows the least about roofing, but he never was in roofing sales before, so he follows my systems like a fucking robot, like a military warrior. Dude, and it's amazing to watch. So like we have a new sales guy starting next week, and I'm gonna put him with Rick a lot, because I really feel like Rick, the guy I'm referring to, the guy with the least roofing experience, is going to be the number one sales guy sometime in the future. I don't know how long it's going to take him, but it's because he follows the systems like a fucking robot. We've got our pipeline workflow. He's got his individual board that he looks at. He follows up with every single name on the list, regardless of emotion, regardless of anything. He follows up with everybody. He's relentless. He does email follow-up. He does text follow-up. And all the time, Rick gets old names to pop up. He gets old names to pop up because he never lost contact with them and everybody else did. So if every single competitor you're dealing with stopped reaching out to this guy and you stayed in touch, whether it was like every couple months, every couple weeks, whatever it is for the situation, you stayed talking with him and it stayed friendly and he continued to give you updates and you continued to check in. You're going to get the job when he becomes ready, because people get roof quotes and decide they're going to replace their roof. And then life happens, then they get busy, maybe something happened with their finances, anything could have happened, and they put the whole project on hold. But guess what? The roof's not getting any younger, and they know that. It's in the back of their head that they're going to have to do it. It just, for whatever reason, it's not right now anymore. But if you're the only one to stay in contact with them, it's almost guaranteed that you're going to get the job, because you're showing you're a professional, you're showing that you care, you're showing that you didn't forget about that person, and because you stayed in touch, when that person becomes ready, you're going to get the job. And after you've been in sales long enough, the list of those people and those situations gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and then your sales grow exponentially because you're getting better at sales, your pipeline's getting bigger, you have more people to follow up with, there's more old people coming through, and then you're still meeting new people and bringing them in. So now you have today's leads and yesterday's leads and maybe last year's leads, and now you're fucking crushing it because you're a follow-up warrior. And most salespeople don't follow up. They're on to the next one. They're moving on, and they leave all these other people behind. So if you're part of the 10% that does follow up, it's 100% going to improve your sales. 1,000% it's going to improve your sales because nobody else is doing it. So a quick summary. I got to the house, I built rapport, I bullshitted with the homeowner, I made him like me. I asked some lead-in questions to figure out where to take the sales conversation. Do I need to talk about the roofing? Do I need to talk about past horror stories with contractors? Do I need to talk about what this new roof will do for them next storm season? I asked them where they found us. I went and did an amazing roof inspection. I showed that I'm an expert. I showed that I care. I showed that my solution is going to be individualized for them. I differentiated myself that way. I went in the home, I put together an amazing proposal in about 2 minutes with photos of their home, with options, so that they feel like they're shopping within my company rather than shopping with my company and other companies. I answered all the questions, I educated them on everything they needed, and then at the end, when there's no more questions, I ask if they're ready to okay the paperwork. They're either going to say yes or they're going to say no. Hopefully they say yes, and then you sold a roof. If they say no, we can try to handle objections. Maybe we still don't get the job. Well, now they go in the follow-up system. And if we follow up like a fucking animal, we are going to sell more jobs than if we didn't. Plain and simple.